Good afternoon, Mr. President. My question is, gaano ba kahalaga yung namakuha natin yung seat sa UN Security Council?
Malaki.
Paano po ba ito mapapakinabangan yung benepisyo na ito doon sa mga ordinaryong mamamayan?
Well, malaking bagay sana tayo ay mapagbigyan at maging non-permanent member ng Security Council. Uupo tayo sa Security Council, which is the guiding body of the United Nations. At doon, dinidecide kung ano ang mga issue na dapat talakayin ng United Nations, in mga General Assembly ng pag-uusapan, and all the other issues around the world. At ito'y magbibigay ng boses para sa Pilipinas na kasing halaga ng boses ng mga malalaking bansa, the rich and powerful nations that already sit as permanent members of the Security Council. But we have to look beyond just the Philippines and what it can do for the Philippines. Dahil ito talaga ay bilang mapatibay pa ang ating partnership with the UN na matagal na. We have been working together with the UN since 1945 on many of the most important issues. And so it is really to strengthen that partnership. And it is not just about the Philippines. It is about being a representative voice for middle-income countries, for developing countries, for the Indo-Pacific region, which is now really the driver of a great deal of the global economy and of geopolitics. Kaya't napakahalaga na magkaroon tayo ng boses sa ganyang klaseng body na napaka-importante at napakataas na sa ngayon ay wala tayong boses na ganyan. At tayo ay magiging boses hindi lamang para sa Pilipinas, kung hindi sa mga iba't ibang bansa din.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next question will come from Harleen Delgado, ABS-CBN.
Hi, Mr. President. Good afternoon. Sir, just want to ask on your assessment on the overall campaign of the Philippines for the UNSC non-permanent seat. Just wondering, sir, what are the challenges, if there's any, that you've encountered during the campaign, and how optimistic are you in winning against our rival country, Kyrgyzstan?
Well, we have the advantage, and this is what I highlighted in my speech, that the advantage that the Philippines has is that we have a very strong record of partnership with the UN over the years. Hindi lamang, it's not about the Philippines. For example, yung mga peacekeeping na tinutulungan natin ng UN under the auspices of the UN. Yung ating mga pagdala ng mga iba't ibang issue na tayo lang ang nagdala sa UN. Women's issues, climate change issues, social issues that were initiated by the Philippines. And because of that, we see now an opportunity to contribute even more. And that, I think, will serve to the advantage of the Philippines in this candidature. It's very hard to assess what the chances are. We have some solid expressions of support, but it is a silent ballot, so secret ballot rather. So we just have to keep talking to our friends and hope that they provide us their support. Mukha namang maganda naman ang pag-asa natin. Sana naman matuloy at tayo'y maging non-permanent member na. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next question from Elton Lugay of the Inquirer.
Good afternoon po, Mr. President. As the world marks the 70th anniversary of the Conference of the Status of Women under the theme of accelerating gender equality by 2030 po, how does the Philippine government plan to address persistent issues such as gender-based violence and underrepresentation of women in leadership roles, both in public and private sectors? Thank you.
Well, the way I framed it was in the Philippine context, where especially, women have always been recognized as equal partners to men in many ways, in government, in business, in all the decision-making areas. So it's it is a very good example to hold up. Of course, the violence against women still exists. The access to economic betterment still exists, but I felt that we could speak with authority on those subjects because the Philippines has been adjudged by many international surveys or studies as being one of the most advanced when it comes to gender equality. So, yun ang pinagbasihan ko, yung experience natin sa Pilipinas.
Mr. President, with regards to the ongoing conflict po in the Middle East,
Yeah.
how will the government po protect our OFWs, especially women?
How do we?
Protect po our OFWs.
Well,
Thank you, sir.
we do not, first of all, we do not make the differentiation between men or women. Basta OFW natin, siyempre tutulungan natin. And to protect them, we have to depend on the locals, the local authorities. Dahil wala naman tayong military doon, wala naman tayong police doon, wala naman tayong courts doon. Ngunit dahil sa magandang performance ng ating mga OFW, talaga namang tinutulungan sila. They are being kept safe by the governments, the countries where they have been working. Ang maaari lang natin gawin ay iuwi yung mga gusto nang umuwi. And for that, we have made many arrangements. We are arranging charter flights kasi medyo lumuwag na ang sitwasyon. Yung lumipad na Emirates coming out of Dubai, nakatatlong flight na yata tayo. Dubai-Manila yon, mga Dubai-Manila. So that's direct. And yun, naisakay natin yung mga ibang Pilipino. But now that the Emirates has decided that it is safe enough for them to fly, and it should be safe enough also for us to charter airplanes na para maisakay yung mga ibang Pilipino na nais umuwi. And there are 2 flights that we are planning. One is out of Riyadh para sa mga nasa Saudi, sa Qatar, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Yung isa naman out of Fujairah in the UAE to transport yung mga Dubai OFWs. We are hoping to bring DND and CAAP personnel. In fact, I know that Secretary Hans Kaktak is taking the flight to Dubai. Sabi ko, sumakay siya para makapag-report siya na mabuti kung ano ba talaga ang sitwasyon doon. And he will be doing that. Ang nabuksan pa ay there's now a land border crossing from the UAE and from Israel. That will be arriving tomorrow respectively. So may isasakay din natin yan sa mga eroplano. So galing Israel, UAE, puro land border crossing, Oman. A group from UAE is arriving tonight. The Israel group of 16 tomorrow night naman. The target date of departure from Fujairah in the UAE is March 13. ETA Manila, gabi ng March 13 or early morning of the 14th. Thank you.
The next question from Rafi Ayeng, the Tribune.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, you mentioned yung medical gloves manufacturing is investing in the Philippines. So when is the timeline they gave?
For
the medical gloves po?
Actually, they already have started it. They sent already representatives to the Philippines. Now they're already starting to build their first plant, and gusto nila mag-expand pa. They already have found a local partner. But the first phase will be a smaller investment. But we are already talking about a larger investment. Now, this is going to be to our advantage dahil magkakaroon tayo ng supply hindi lamang para sa mga healthcare workers, pati sa military, pati sa lahat ng mga nangangailangan. At sana kung talagang maging maganda ang takbo nitong manufacturing na ito, makapag-export pa tayo. So they want to do it as quickly as possible, and it mukha pinalaman sa atin na pagpatayo ng ganitong klaseng facility ay mabilis lang. Sabi nila pagdating ng makina, basta't napagawa na nila ng building, pagdating ng makinarya nila, within 48 hours they'll start the process already.
Just a follow-up for that question, sir. Did they mention the amount of the investment they are pouring in?
The prospective amount is $200 million, at least in the beginning. Yeah.
And
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Rafi. The next question from Joseph Morong of GMA7.
Sir, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, my question is on the emergency powers. I understand that the committee at the House has submitted its committee report to the PLLO. May we know why you prefer to receive first the committee report from Congress versus you declaring it or certifying the emergency powers bill as urgent?
No, actually, I will declare it as urgent because there's no point declaring it as urgent before the committee report has been completed. And that is what I told them, both houses. And I said, the minute that you have completed your committee reports, because when you declare a bill as urgent, the shortcuts, if you say, only begin on the plenary debates. So yung requirement of 3 working days between the reporting out from committee to the debate on the floor of is shortened. And that's what, kasi kung minsan pag talagang urgent, pag report out, pag yung majority floor leader, babasahin yung report, at pagkatapos ma-approve yung report, ay hindi na uupo yun. They will then go straight to the third reading. So that's when the declaration of the bill as urgent really goes into effect.
Do you have like a preference or provisions that you want to see in the providing you with the emergency powers?
It's very, very simple. What we asked of the legislature is really very simple, is that when the price of oil, at least this is the original version, when the price of oil has breached $80 per barrel on average for a month, then the emergency powers can be exercised. Does that mean that you will necessarily do it? But it can be exercised by the president. Yun lang ang hiningi.
Just last one. Sir, paano niyo po kakausapin yung mga ordinary Filipinos na medyo nangangamba? Because if the Middle East crisis worsens, so patong-patong na yan, sir. Bilihin, gasolina. Paano po yung magiging approach and what do you want to tell them now?
Well, first of all, we are still, as I explained the first time I met with you, in terms of supply, we are in good shape. And not only do we have inventory in the Philippines, we also are awaiting some supplies coming in that are in transit. Ang pinaaral ko lang kung yung mga in transit, baka naman nandun sila sa lugar ng peligro. So, para maging accurate yung kalkulasyon natin. Pero hindi naman daw. Yung pagsara ng Straits of Hormuz, hindi kasama dun sa kalkulasyon so far. So, so in terms of supply, but that doesn't mean that we're not doing anything. Naghahanap tayo ng iba't ibang lugar na makapagbigay ng supply sa atin. We are talking to many other countries who we normally do not buy oil from, but hopefully we will be able to come to an agreement with them, and that we will get further supply from them. But the real problem here that everybody is having to deal with is hindi natin alam kung gaano katagal ito. Hindi natin, kasi yung presyo kung saan pupunta, hindi natin how long, kung tataas man, tumaas na nga, gaano katagal ba yung pagtaas na yun? Ito ba ay pangmatagalan, permanent na ba ito? Ano bang mangyayari? Yun ang problema talaga. And this is the same problem. Nung nasa JP Morgan ako, pinag-usapan namin na matagal ito. Pati sila, sila nag-a-analyze sila kung ano yung takbo ng financial markets. So ganun din ang kanilang sinasabi. The hardest part of this. Kasi kung alam natin kung ano magiging presyo ng langis, alam na natin ang effect. So makapaghanda na tayo. Pero ang presyo ng langis ay hindi lamang dahil sa supply, volatility is also a big factor. Pag hindi tayo nakakasiguro kung gaano katagal pa ito, even the supply will be affected. Kasi yung mga supplier ng langis, syempre sasabihin nila, yung nasa amin, hawakan muna namin. Baka maipit kami pag pinagbili namin ito, tapos tumagal ito, kami naman ang mauubusan. So they can be very conservative or less so. Depending again on the planning horizon, kung tawagin. If it's going to last this long, 1 month, 2 months, or 1 week, whatever it is. But we don't know. That's the problem. We do not know how long it's going to last, when the actual war is going to end, what the end will look like, and how it will change, how everything will change. Dahil kahit ano pang mangyari, ay talaga magbabagong sistema. And what will that new system look like? So those are the unknowns that we are having to deal with now.
Basic commodities, sir, prices.
Huh?
Basic commodities, sir, prices. Ano pa, paano ba yun? Pwede bang mag-price freeze tayo?
Well, we have already. We're trying to keep prices down, but there's an inevitable effect. Pag oil goes up, everything goes up. So right now, bumaba ng kaunti. Yesterday, was very worrisome because it went above $100 per barrel, but it's now adjusted to below 90, which is of course still high. Dahil nag-start tayo sa 72. So that makes that gives us a little better chance of providing subsidies for our people, for providing support for the affected sectors. I think we've identified those sectors already.
Mr. President, given the concerns po about the corruption and the possible
About the?
corruption and the possible impact of ongoing oil crisis sa economy natin, ano pong image ng Pilipinas ang gusto niyong makita ng UN member states in the coming years?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to. Like if we were talking about the United Nations, ang tinitignan nila ay kung ano yung record natin with the United Nations. And I'm proud to say, maganda ang record natin with the United Nations. Sila naman ang in-address natin dito sa trip na ito. Ang mga United Nations delegates, mga iba't ibang bansa, para kung saan ay matulungan tayo, bigyan tayo ng suporta sa ating kandidatura. And I am very happy to note that kasi during the reception, isa-isa kong nakilala yung mga permanent representative ng iba't ibang bansa. At lahat naman sila nakikita nila na mahaba talaga ang magandang record natin with the UN. Kapag nangangailangan ng tulong ang UN, tayo lagi always ready to help naman ang Pilipinas. At noong 60s pa, nagpapadala na tayo ng peacekeeping forces. At in fact, the Korean War, nagpadala tayo ng tao, namatayan pa nga tayo. And so all of these instances where we have initiated, for example, the debate on women's rights, the debate on climate change, we have been very active on that, syempre, because apektado tayo. So with all of those things in hand, and yun ang aking binanggit sa speech ko, na matagal na ang Pilipinas at saka yung UN na nagtutulungan. Kaya't may pagkakataon tayo, may pagkakataon ng Pilipinas na mas tumulong pa kung tayo man ay maging non-permanent representative non-permanent member sa Security Council.
For the last question, Mr. President, Maricel Halili from TV5.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, may we know what will happen to the Independent Commission on Infrastructure? Are they going to be abolished or will you fill up the vacant positions?
Well, right now, what the ICI is doing is that they are collating all of their findings because dadalhin nila, syempre they're also writing their final report. I think baka tapos na. But they essentially, the ICI itself has made a determination that much of their work has already been done. And the next part of this process is that they will send those, the information, they will send it to DOJ and the Ombudsman, depending on which is the appropriate body. So, nandun tayo ngayon. Now, what will happen afterwards is, let us see what else that they can do. But for now, their brief has already been fulfilled.
Sir, may we also have an update about former Congressman Zaldico? Why is it difficult for the government to bring him home?
You
Any
cannot
update?
bring him home because that's just not the way it works. We have to ask the assistance of the country where he is in, which is presently Portugal. So that is what we have done. Naglagay na tayo ng red notice sa Interpol at patuloy ang ating ugnayan sa mga Portuguese authorities na pauwi na siya. And that's the process that you do not send your own police to go and pick him up kasi wala naman jurisdiction ng police dun sa kung saan yung ibang bansa. So they cannot arrest anyone. So it will have to be with the assistance of the hosting country. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we
Okay,
don't have any
is
more
that it?
questions. Thank you very much.
All
Good
right.
afternoon,
Maraming
everyone.
salamat. Thank you.